Worries on my mind, it's been a tough week. My life feels a void, there's something that I need. My supplies on the table, I grab a comfy seat. I need to craft to put my mind at ease. Crafting changed my life, it mends my soul. In my happy space, I'm in full control. It's crafting time, craft my troubles away. Give me a world of color to brighten up my day. Crafting videos on, searching what I can do. Sipping on my drink, feeling inspired and new. Crafting's good for the soul, it's so true. Bringing beauty into the world through. As I craft, my spirits start to climb. It's not just a pastime, it's a state of mind. It's more than just a hobby, it's a way of life. I express myself, everything is feeling just right. It changed my life, it mends my soul. In my happy space, I'm in control.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. See everyone tuning in on the chat, and everyone's waking up in the morning and getting all settled in. Let's see, we've got people from all over the place. I see North Central Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Maryland. Oh boy, we got hot Texas going on there. A lot of people from Texas. Good morning. There's my friends from Canada. Hey, how are you? Wow, we've got people from all over the place. Thank you all for tuning in this morning. And if you're tuning in for the first time, let us know on the chat because we like to welcome all our newcomers here. And my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and I host these daily sessions to just talk about all kinds of crafting things, from knitting, crocheting, decoupage, sewing, embroidery, and just so much more. So if that's something that you're into, you're definitely in the right place, and go ahead and let people know who you are in the chat. Maybe you have a little YouTube channel yourself. You've got an Etsy shop. Maybe you've got a little craft fair going on. Let people know in the chat because we like to help each other out and support each other. So I really hope you guys really enjoy this hour with me because we're going to share all kinds of tips and tricks and all kinds of ideas. And I like to get feedback from you guys. So I really hope that you really have a great time. Okay, so get yourself all settled in and grab yourself a cup of whatever it is that you have in the morning, whether that be coffee or water, or maybe you've got some healthy stuff. But if you don't have a cup, I'll pour you a cup because, you know, we here, love to kind of just get ourselves nice and settled. Get yourself your drink. Let me pour you up a little cup of coffee here. If you've got the GiftsHQ mug, there you go. You're all set and ready to go. So let me pour you a cup and let me get some of that creamer for you as well. Let me know, 1 lump or 2, right? And don't worry, because it's all virtual, so there's no calories involved. Yay! And don't forget, guys, we got to get our snacks. So I think I hear the food truck coming along. It should be coming down the block as we speak. There it is. Okay, so here you go, guys. Your virtual food truck has arrived. And yep, we've got the little unicorn coming along, and she's going to help serve some little goodies up for you guys. And I've got some coffee, some tea, some muffins, bagels, cookies, sodas. All the goodies are on here. Got some croissants and muffins. And for the healthy folks, we've got some kale and carrots, so you can start doing your little juicing. Alrighty, so I think that got you all settled in. Hopefully you've got your favorite little drink and you're ready to go. So let me just take a quick little sip here. Okay, got my water going. You know, you guys know I start off with my water every morning. I'll eventually make it to my coffee, but I'm just not there yet. All right, guys. Well, it's Friday, you know, TGIF. Hello. Yay. We are excited. It is Friday, and we definitely are ready for the weekend. Yay. All righty. Coffee. I see everyone on here. Coffee and a bagel, please. Yes, Becky, you can have anything you like off that food truck. Okay, awesome. Oh, great. We've got a YouTube educator with lots of machines. Awesome. Embroidery, quilting, lasers, 3D template maker, and the coffee's in the cup. Well, Sean, I am glad you are here. Awesome. Yay. Okay. I think we've got everyone settled in. We are settling down. This chat's starting to settle down a little bit. So I think we're ready to get started. So, a couple of things that we have going on today. I'm going to kind of introduce a new book. I'm going to show you guys what I am planning to do. I'll give you some information if you want to follow along with me. This is an opportunity that we can do things together. So it's a book that I've kind of been eyeing. It's an applique type of book, but it shows you 2 different methods of appliques that can be done. But I'm also going to bring a 3rd method into it, probably using my scan and cut. So where are my scan and cut people out there? I guess you guys that have a scan and cut would like to do some practice on doing some appliques with the scan and cut, cutting the fabric, maybe sending it to your embroidering machine. We'll see what we can do with that, but then I'm also using the 2 methods that they're showing in the book as well. So if you don't have a scan and cut, it doesn't mean that you can't follow along, because I'll be showing you the other 2 methods as well. So we'll get into all of that in just a minute. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and go into one of my segments here. So let's go ahead and go over to our crafting news, because we've got a couple of things out here going on. So I just want to let you guys know what we have going on here. So today, if you are in Richardson, North Dakota, they are having an event today, and it is the Susie's Stash that is hosting an outdoor quilt show, which is pretty amazing. So she is going to have this outdoor quilt show, and it is going to be a heartwarming day filled with fabric, friendship, and lots of fun. So bring a friend, sip some coffee, get some of those quilts to inspire you, because it's going to be really nice. Now, there's not going to be any judging on here. It's just going to be pure joy. So if you are in that area and you want to take a look at some really awe-inspiring quilts, get over to that area. The shop hours are from 8 to 2 p.m. That's Mountain Time. And they're going to have some live demos. So at 9:30, they're having the stripology. At 10:45, they're going to be talking about notions and gadgets galore. And then at 12:15, they're going to talk about scraps. You know, we've got tons of that, right? Scraps, what to do with them. And then they're also going to talk about the quilt tips that you can have. So for more information, go ahead and visit the website there. And that is going to be at susiesstash.com. So lots and lots of fun there going on. So if you're in that North Dakota area, check that out. Now we're going to go over to Minnesota. So we've got a little story of Minnesota. We've got an 82-year-old lady, Ruby Minkle, and her daughter, Carrie. They're stitching up something truly special. They do star quilts with love and tradition. So Ruby taught herself how to craft back in the 90s, and she passed it down to her daughter just about 5 years ago. And she spent now the two of them actually spent days kind of side by side with each other, and they're sewing these beautiful quilts for graduations, weddings, babies, even funerals, and each one of them have a symbol of history and deep care. Now they have the 8-pointed star that, of course, we all know, that star is very pretty just on its own, but each star that they make tells a little story. And 7 of the points stand for 7 fire councils of their people. And the 8th is the maker's spirit sewn into every stitch. So isn't that pretty amazing? So now these quilts aren't all about profit. They're just about the purpose. And together this mother-daughter duo kind of make a whole bunch of star quilts. In fact, they've made 50 for their local graduates just recently. And they even live next door to each other. So quilting, kind of just is not their only reason to kind of connect with each other. They just love to do it together, connect, laugh, and create lasting memories, which I thought was really cute. And that's just, another reason for us to kind of quilt and kind of unite together. So, yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Let's see. Now, I think those stories are amazing, and I really believe there's so many other stories that are out there that we can truly connect with. And don't forget, guys, if you have a story, go ahead and submit it to us, because we would love to know what your stories are, what events maybe that you have going on around you. We've got a form, fill it out, and let us know. Maybe you've got a craft fair coming up that you're going to be hosting, or a quilt guild is doing some type of event and you want to get the word out. Let us know, because we will kind of bring that out into the air and let everyone know about that event. So go ahead and fill out the form there. We've got a little form. And even if you just want to tell us it's your birthday, we want to know. Just let us know and we will air that information out to all of you. So awesome. Okay. So let's see here. We've got a few things to talk about. One thing I kind of want to recap from yesterday, I was able to kind of finish out the 2 projects. So we talked about the granny squares and where you can get them. And then we went ahead and we made these little pouches. And so we've got the little pouch here that you can fit all kinds of little goodies. And I did include a little button that I attached to the top. So I did a little heart button. You guys can see that. And then we went ahead and we talked about doing the second one, which was just kind of putting 2, 4, 6 granny squares together. And then you can also just make a little pouch here to put some other things. So it's a little bit bigger. I also added some buttons to that. And so I did put that on the top. And so you could see the little buttons. And I thought, they came out pretty cute, nice and functional, things that I can use. And so these are just some extra ideas that I hope you guys were able to take. And probably if you have a little Etsy shop or, a little craft show or something coming up, these are great little things that you can make to kind of, boost up your profit there. Okay. So let's go over one more thing I wanted to get out. It's another segment. We've had a lot of people kind of send us some of their projects on our Facebook group. So I wanted to go ahead and do the showcase for our Gifted Crafters showcase and kind of show off what you guys have been up to, because it's Friday and, you know, everyone's been working on stuff all week long. So let's go ahead and roll that segment in to kind of show what you guys have been up to. Okay, so we're going to start off with Evelyn V, and she has embroidered some towels, and she had some beautiful items on there, and I thought it was pretty cool. Love the little music that she had behind it as well. You can check that out. Evelyn also has an Instagram account out there, so you may want to check her ideas out there that she sells, and I think she does an amazing job. So thank you, Evelyn, for sending us pictures of your items that you created, and I think they're absolutely beautiful. The embroidery on there is just gorgeous. Okay, now we're gonna move over to Heather, and Heather has done some embroidery on some window screens. So I think that is so amazing. It really captures the light, and it's a lot of fun to make. If you guys haven't tried that technique out, it's really, really beautiful. And she's put these on these embroidery hoops, and you can kind of just hang them on your wall. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And just the fact that you're embroidering on that screen is really amazing. I mean, look at the colors on there. I think it really came out really gorgeous, Heather. I think you did a fantastic job. I really love the colors that you used on the designs, and I think the embroidery came out really beautiful. So they look fantastic. Then we're going to go over to Tina, and Tina did some embroidery for a little outfit here for her grandchild, and I think it's absolutely adorable. I think it's really neat how she's got the buttons up on the front here, and then she's got the little loop, and you know, it's a cute little dress. Super, super cute. I think it's so amazing. The little trims on the ends, and then the embroidery itself just kind of brings it out. I think it's so, so adorable. And I think you did a fantastic job, Tina. And that would be, you know, just a great little item to sell. You know, I think it's amazing how she made the dress. She has the embroidery on it. I mean, she did a fantastic job. I think that's really something that you can really sell, Tina. I would pay for that dress. I mean, who wouldn't, right? I think it's so, so cute. So that's adorable. And then we also had, Wanda, and Wanda has upcycled some jeans, which I think is so cool. You can kind of see the before and after picture, you know, for a picture, just a plain old pair of jeans, and you can see how she upcycled them and really turned them into something completely different. I thought that was so cool how she's got the design coming out on the side there. It just looks so nice. Very, very cute. I think you did an awesome job, Wanda. And you can sell those. I mean, oh my gosh, people would pay for that. I think it's really amazing. So guys, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, please go ahead and do so, because everyone shares all these projects, and you can really get yourself some ideas of seeing what other people are up to, and kind of, you know, you might have some questions on it, and you can kind of reach out, and our community is really great. We like to help each other out. So I think that is super, super nice. All of the projects were amazing. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. And, you know, it's a lot of fun to see how you guys are, what you're working on, the different techniques that you use and things like that. So it's just really amazing. Yeah, just talented, gifted crafters. That's what we are here. That's all awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that, and continue to share projects, because I really love to see them. I really watch my Facebook, and I love to see everything that comes through there. I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Okay. All right. Yeah. The design is awesome. You love the kids' clothes as well. Yes, exactly. I think everyone did a fantastic job on here. All righty. So what do we have next? So let me kind of introduce to you what I am looking to do here. Let me grab a quick sip of water if you guys don't mind. Okay. Water, 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 right? All right. So I ordered this book. The book is called Pumpkin Hill, and this is an applique. It's a whimsical type of applique that can be done. It's by Annie Sutton. And let me show you what it looks like. So this is the cover where you can see the quilt. And it's very whimsical. It is an applique type quilt, which really would go perfect with the fall. You've got some acorns on there. You've got some squirrels. I think it's really an adorable quilt. But what I really like about it is that it's kind of broken off into segments. So you don't feel like you have to make the entire quilt if you don't want to. They're like little scenes. If you can take a closer look, you can see that they're scenes. And their link for the book is in the description, guys. But Tina, if you can't find the Facebook page, it's GiftsHQ.USA is where the Facebook page is. The link is below, so you can just click on the link. You'll be able to find it there. Now, we have the link for the book as well down below, and you can get this is from Amazon, so I was able to get it. So if you're thinking of following along with me, the link's below. You can get the book. I think it's about $8, something like that. So it's, pretty low priced, and you can do a lot of different things. This isn't just a one quilt, right? It has different sections, so you don't have to do the entire quilt if you don't want to. If there's a specific section that you're looking at, for example, let's say if you like the little house, or maybe you like the little bird sitting on the pumpkin, and you just want to do that, you can just do this one square. You don't have to do the entire quilt. And because it's applique, there's different methods that you can use with this. And so I'm thinking of starting this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the entire quilt. I may just do pieces of it and do little wall hangings instead of doing the entire quilt. I'm still kind of undecided on this. Now, there's different methods that this book kind of goes into, and it kind of talks about specifically two types of methods. It's the needle turn applique method, and then it talks about a spray starch applique. And from what I've read so far, the spray starch applique is supposed to be more beginner friendly than the needle turn applique. So it is two different methods that it introduces, and it talks about, how to do it. It provides you step-by-step instructions. It's got some really nice pictures on here to kind of show you the steps as well. And I think that it's going to be a pretty nice little project to start off with, but I'm going to also do a third method. And my third method is just kind of taking these applique pieces, cutting it with my scan and cut, and then possibly sending it to my embroidery machine and having the embroidery machine tack down some of these pieces. Now, some of the problems that I'm going to have as I kind of read through this, and I'm trying to kind of picture it in my mind to make sure that I am going to be able to do this. There's a few issues on it, because if you don't have the right hoop size, you may not be able to embroider the entire thing. So I think I'm going to do a mixture where I can put it in my hoop and have the embroidery machine tack down my applique pieces. I will, but there's going to be others that are just way too big. I'm limited to a 5x7 hoop because I do have the Brother SC1900, and that is the biggest size that I can do. I do have a repositional hoop that's a 5x12, but it's still not going to be wide enough for me to do some of these pieces. So I'm going to do the pieces that I can with the embroidery machine, and then the others I will have to use one of the two methods that they teach, which is either the needle turn applique or the spray starch applique method. And so we'll take a look at those two methods and just kind of figure out, you know, which one we would use. I might just try both of them just to see which one I like better before I actually start the project. But it's a beautiful quilt. It's very whimsical, which is really nice. It finishes at 57.5 by 65.5. So it's a pretty large quilt. Here's what it looks like on the inside cover. So I think it's really pretty. And I think it's going to be a fantastic way to kind of celebrate the fall and Halloween and all pumpkins and, you know, all those colors that come into play when you get to that fall season. So I think that it's going to be really nice. Oh, Robin says, you love needle turn applique. That's how I learned. Awesome. Okay. Well, I hope you can share some tips with us. Awesome. That's great. So yeah, it talks about both of those methods, but I really like the way the book is kind of laying out the instructions. So since it is a whimsical quilt and it has all of these little scenes that are getting put together to make the entire quilt, like it's taking it piece by piece. So as I kind of was going through the instructions here, and you know, it talked about both methods, and like I said, it has, you know, the really nice pictures to kind of help you follow along. But then it kind of gets into that first part of the quilt, which are the two acorns right here. So that's going to be like step one of doing this. And so then it kind of goes into the instructions for that. And it's the double acorns, and you can see a picture of it right here. And then it starts going into the steps, and you start putting that together. Now, it tells you in the book to do all the applique pieces. And then there's a section towards the back here, and let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see, that talks about assembling the quilt and then layering and quilting. So it comes here at the end where it starts to talk about the quilting background piece, right? And how you would quilt it. And each piece is quilted in a different design. So, for example, and let me see if I can find that close-up picture here. We've got the double acorn here, okay? And if I bring this closer, I'm hoping you guys can see the background quilting on the double acorn is just a crosshatch, okay? So you've got your lines, you're going diagonally one way, then you turn it over, and then you go diagonally the other way. You end up with these little squares here that you see as the background. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I can do quilt as I go. I can basically do the background quilting, at least for this first piece. It requires 6.5-inch squares. So I'll take my 6.5-inch squares. I will do quilt as I go. I will do my cross hatching, right? And then I can join the two together and then do the applique portion. And then the applique portion is just following either one of those two methods, or I can try to do it on my scan and cut and then send that to the embroidery machine. But I need to make sure that the applique pieces that I'm going to be scanning to the scan and cut and then sending to the embroidery machine is going to be able to fit my hoop. So like I said, not everyone is going to be able to do that. So will I have this listed in your link of more details? Yeah, Cindy, the link is down below where you can get the book here. And we're going to kind of go over a little bit of their applique pieces, applique instructions, sorry. So yeah, it's called Pumpkin Hill, and it's by Annie Sutton. And she does a lot of different types of whimsical type of quilts. So she's a really nice designer on here. So I think it's going to come out really nice. I mean, I love the way the book is laid out and how it breaks it down into sections. So it really, it's a large quilt. Like I said, it's 57.5, I believe it was. Let me see if I get that size again. It was, of course I won't find the page that had the size. Okay. I mentioned it earlier. It was 57.5, I believe it was, by, yeah, 57.5 by 65.5. So it is a large quilt, but the way she has it laid out on this book really breaks it down into the smaller pieces, so you don't feel so overwhelmed. And she breaks down the different methods and how to do them. But again, I'm going to bring in that third method using my scan and cut to see if I can have the scan and cut my fabric pieces, and then send it to the embroidery machine and have it stitched down. So I'm going to give that a try for the pieces that'll fit my hoop. So just in looking in that first section, so the first part of it will be working with these acorns here. And so it does have, in the back of the book, you'll find all of your applique pieces. So here, let's open one up here to see. You've got the Pumpkin Hill pattern sheet. And let me just open it up all the way. Now, it is double-sided. So what does that mean right away? Well, right away, I would take an iron and I would iron out these creases. And then I will take this in chunks and I will probably scan each one of these pieces because it is double-sided. So I think what I'll do is just put this in a copier and copy this out, because I found that sometimes when they do these double-sided things, the ink from the other side sometimes comes out. So you got to kind of watch out with that. So it may be easier for me to try to just scan it and put this on just a regular sheet of paper. But in some cases, they are pretty big. So I may not be able to do it that way. And so then I'll just have to kind of fold it and then put it in the scan and cut and scan it on my scan and cut that way. So I'll have to kind of see how it goes for every piece. Every piece is going to be a little bit different. But they have some really pretty things that are kind of just standalone. So she's giving you the cottage right here. This just in itself can be a really cute quilt block that you can make on your own. So if you're not looking to make the entire quilt and you just want some of the pieces, I mean, here's a really cute little house that you can do right here. The other side, it's got this little pumpkin here. That in itself is just gorgeous. You can do a lot with just that. You know, and then up on the top is a pretty large one where she's got some squirrels and a little pumpkin carriage. Really cute, but this for sure, I would not be able to fit into my hoop. So I would have to use that applique method that they're talking about. However, you can take this entire piece, and if you have the 12 by 24 inch mat for the scanning cut, you could scan this entire piece and have it cut the pieces out for you. So that would still save you a lot of time there just in cutting out the pieces. So just cutting those out would save you time. And also, you know, if you have the hoop size for certain things, you can just put this entire thing and have it embroider the piece for you. Use a blanket stitch, go into Embrilliance, and just, you know, have it do that little blanket stitch all the way around. You can do a satin stitch if you like as well, whatever design it is that you want to do. So this is what Becky, if you guys watch Power Tools with Thread, Becky has what she calls the snapplique process, and this is that whole process, putting it together. But my hoop sizes are not big enough, so I can't do the entire quilt using that method. So I'm just going to do pieces of it, and maybe we can just do cute little wall hangings instead of doing the entire quilt. So if you're interested in doing that and following me along on this journey, go ahead and get the book, and you can read up on here. It's pretty good sized book. It's got about 30 something pages and has some light reading and some really nice colored guides to help you. So I think it's going to be really neat. But let's talk about the two methods that they have, because I want to look at the acorns specifically. So I'm going to go over to the second pattern sheet, and you can see here this is a beautiful little squirrel with some flowers. I mean, you can make something really gorgeous with just that, but it is quite large. So that's something else that you can do. And let me see, it would be nicer if it wasn't double-sided printed. I know, right, Cindy? I say that all the time. Like, why do they do that to us? Why do they put double-sided? I know it's better for them, saves them money on printing costs, but man, yeah, it's tough. But it really depends also on the paper that they use. Some papers are a little thicker than others, and so when you scan it, you don't see the other side. But some not so much. I'm looking at this, and I can't, just by looking at the paper, sometimes if it's really thin paper, you can kind of see the other outline of the other side. In this case, I can't. So the paper is a little bit thicker. So I may be able to scan it without the other side showing. But you got to kind of test it to see. So I'll know more when I try it out. But for right now, just that warning, you may just have to, try to just do one side, then flip it over and do the other. Barbara says, wish you could zoom in closer to what you're showing. Oh, sure, I can bring it up a little bit. So let me fold it in half so it'll be a little bit easier to show you. So here's the squirrel. Can you guys see that? There's a little squirrel, and I think that's adorable. Just in itself, you can just do this as a wall hanging. And if you were doing this in the hoop, you could just do the squirrel itself and then just add some text on the top, happy fall, or whatever it is you want to say on here. Welcome, whatever it is you want to do, just add the text in your embroidery machine. But it's gorgeous. And then here's the other side where it's got some more. And this one I think is really, really cute. I've got two of them, so let me fold this way. So they've got this bird sitting on top of a pumpkin with some vines on here. Isn't that adorable? So it's kind of perched up on the pumpkin. Really, really cute. I think that's going to be a cute one just in itself. Is adorable. And then you've got this owl and a moon and a little squirrel as well. And I think those are really cute too. So the nice thing about this quilt is that, the quilt itself, the entire quilt, is really great because it's really beautiful. It has that whimsical design. But you can also break it down into wall hangings, or you don't have to do the entire quilt. You can break it down into pieces and just do it that way. And I think just that is nice. Do you think an office supply store could reprint it in a way it would work better for us? Yeah, that's an option. That's definitely an option. If you got like a Office Depot nearby you, you bring this over And they've got, you know, those fancy copy machines that do all kinds of crazy gadgets. You can get someone to help you and just let them know, you know, you want to kind of copy this into pieces, you know, and have them do it that way. Now, you do have this one really big piece, and you can see this big vine going all the way across. It's gorgeous. And this is the part that goes right up on the top, right here. So this is this part right here, all the way up on the top. So it's got the little pumpkins and the vine going across here, and that goes all the way across the top of the quilt. So this is kind of that top piece, and that one is quite large. It's kind of going from corner to corner on this large paper. So this one would be really tough to do because it's so large, and this would probably require you to do either that needle turn applique method, or what was the second one? It was the spray starch applique method. So either one you could do, but you know, it is quite large, so it's going to be a little difficult to do it any other way, unless you break this down in brilliance and then maybe like overlap to connect it all together. So there's ways around it. You just got to kind of work it out in your head and then just kind of go into embrilliance and see how you can pull the whole thing together. Okay. So really, really nice. And I'll flip over to this side. You've got your squirrel. Here you had another piece here. And then here's the little acorn. So the acorn itself, let me just fold this here. The acorn, if I put the ruler to it, isn't that big at all. This ruler is about 6.5 inch square, and the acorn is totally on the inside of it. So this is definitely something that I can do in my hoop, and I can, using that snapplique method, you know, I can kind of bring this into my embroidery machine and get this piece done. So it would be a good practice to, if you're interested in that method that Becky teaches, it's a good way to kind of practice it because it is something small and it seems like it's relatively easy to do. There's only 3 connecting pieces, right? You've got this bottom piece here, then you've got the top, the acorn cap here, and then you have the little stem on the top. So it's just these 3 pieces that you would need to do the applique and then bring it to your embroidery machine and have it tacked down. So this is simple enough to be able to kind of use that process, and it's small enough that it would fit into a 5x7 hoop. And I can kind of take that and just do a little wall hanging with just that piece if I wanted to. So that's what kind of drew me to this particular quilt and this particular book, because I like that it had the different methods that you can use. I like that I can break this quilt up into smaller pieces, do wall hangings if I like, or do the entire quilt. So it gives you a lot of options of what you can do. So I think it's really a nice quilt in the end, and I think it's going to turn out really gorgeous if you decide to do the entire thing. So that's what I kind of wanted to show you, and that's what I'm going to kind of be working on the side here, and I'll continue to update you guys on my progress with that. But I wanted to also kind of just mention on the different methods that they talk about here. So let's take a look at just the first one here, which is called the needle turn applique. And you can see here it's got some really general directions on how to do this method. And it kind of talks about it step by step. Now, one of the things that you're going to need, whether you do the needle turn applique method or if you do the spray starch applique method, is you are going to need some freezer paper. So freezer paper, you may have it in your kitchen. You know, I keep it in my craft room because I use it all the time. And it's just how you would do this method. It's got 2 different ways, 2 different applique methods, but they both use the freezer paper. So you will need to get yourself some freezer paper if you don't have it at home. I can tell you that this is about 100 square feet. I got this a while back and I use it and still have a lot there. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's got this little shiny side to it, and then there's a dull side to it. And you use this for all kinds of different crafts. So yeah, you have it in your craft room too, Annie? Yeah. I end up keeping it in my craft room because then I'm always looking for it. So I'm like, just leave it in the craft room because this is where it's used probably the most. I don't even think I use it in my kitchen. So yeah, it's got this shiny side to it. You guys can see that. I'm not sure if the glare kind of helps, but this is the shiny side, and then there is a dull side to the paper. So keep that in mind, because when you're using both methods, you will have to know which one's the shiny side and which one's the dull side. And you can pretty much see it. I know the camera doesn't do too much justice with it, but you can definitely see the difference between the two when you take it out. Robin has 150 square feet. Yeah, I just got the 100. I'm good with the 100. But yeah, you can definitely use these. And so it kind of outlines different things. And I just kind of wanted to go over some of the little steps here. So if you're starting off with the needle turn applique method, it'll tell you to do the tracing on the dull side. So this would be the back side of the freezer paper. You go ahead and you trace your little design onto this paper here. And then once you do that, you're going to cut that out and you're going to iron the shiny side of the paper down to your fabric. Okay, and then once you do that, you're going to do shiny side of the freezer paper down, and then you're going to take your fabric, and let's just use this as an example. Your right side of the fabric, or the design that you want showing, you're going to want this facing up, and the shiny side of the freezer paper facing down. Okay, that's how this method works. And so then you're going to kind of trace around the freezer paper, and you're going to cut that using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then what you're going to do is kind of glue base that to the background. So that's kind of summarizes what the needle turn applique process looks like. Now, then we've got the spray starch applique process, and the spray starch applique process is a little bit different. And according to the book, that one is a little bit more beginner friendly. But I did, as I was reading through it, I kind of thought, well, this one kind of has more steps. But I think what they mean when they say beginner friendly, it's a little bit, it allows for a little bit more error than the needle turn applique. So if you are a beginner, it recommends that you use this method. And the spray starch applique method tells you to go ahead and trace the design, but this time you're tracing the design onto the shiny part of the paper. So a little bit different. For the needle turn applique, you were tracing on the dull side. On the spray starch applique, you are tracing on the shiny side of the freezer paper. Okay? And it's a little bit different from there, because then after you do that, you're going to go ahead and iron your traced pattern that you did, shiny side down, to another piece of freezer paper. So on the needle turn applique, you took your freezer paper and you ironed it onto your fabric. But when you're doing spray starch, you are tracing it on the shiny side, and then you're gonna take that and you are going to iron it on to another piece of freezer paper. And so you make like a little sandwich there between the two. And then you're going to cut that around the traced line, and you're going to press the shiny side down to the wrong side of your fabric. So you're going to flip this over, and you're actually going to be appliquing it to the wrong side, the back side of your fabric. So very different than the first method, right? And then once you have done that, again, you're going to cut around the trace line, and then you're going to leave a 1/4 inch seam all the way around on here. And then it tells you to spray starch. So that's a little bit different, right? So now you're going to take some spray starch. You can use Mary Ellen's Best Press, whatever your preferred spray starch is. You put it in a little cup, and you're going to use a little brush to kind of brush on that 1/4 inch seam allowance and fold it in, and using the starch, fold that in and put that into place. And that's how you're going to get your little applique piece ready. So 2 completely different methods. One, they say, is beginner friendly, but does involve a lot more steps. Very different method from what I've seen in the past. And then you've got your other method, which is your standard needle turn applique, which is probably a little bit more popular. But we're going to try them both out. And so I'm going to start this next week so you guys can see it. And we're going to start with the little acorn. So if you're interested in following me along and wanted to go ahead and make this quilt, go ahead, click on the link below, and you can get the little book. Again, I got it from Amazon, so you can check that out. And it is relatively low price. I think I've got it down here. Yeah, I got it for $8.99, so not too bad. And then you'll be able to get all the applique pieces and pick out your fabric. So it's pretty easy because we're just starting off with the 2 acorns. So those should be nice. Will I hold up the supply page of the book? Sure, I can do that, Cindy. Let me just grab that page. Hold on, where did it go? Here's the contents, introduction, general directions. Oh, let's see. Okay, so this is for the entire quilt here. It's got quite a number of materials because it's giving you the materials for the entire quilt. But this is what it looks like here. Okay. Now, for the actual piece that we're going to be doing, which is the acorns, the only thing that you're going to need to start that off is you're going to need to get, this is the measurements for just that piece. It's 6.5 inch squares. You're going to need 2 different fabrics. And I'll put that up here. This is what you're going to need. Okay. And I'll read this off to you as well. 6.5 inch squares, 1 cream print and 1 apricot print. So 2 different prints of there. You're going to need a medium brown print, and then a cream print, and then another cream and another medium brown. And there are different measurements on there that you can get all that from the book. But this is where you can see here, we're going to start off with 6.5 inch blocks here, and then we're going to applique the acorns, and then it gives you the measurements for this as well. Okay. Where did you get the fabric? I haven't gotten my fabric yet, Annie. I'm going to look to see what I have in my stash. And the fabric that I have here, this is actually from a class that I took a while back at the Sewing and Quilting Expo. It was a quilting with rulers class, and they gave us some scrap fabric to kind of do that. And so I kind of just kept it. And so I wanted to kind of use that as just an example of some scrap fabric that you can do with this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So if you guys want to join me along, just go ahead and get the book. And we're going to start this on Monday. So we'll continue to kind of give you some information as I kind of move along with my process. So now let's get over to a couple of segments. We've only got a few minutes left. So let's go over and get to our inspirational quote of the day. Okay, so here we are at our inspirational quote of the day, and today's quote is, "You're not just sewing, you're telling your story with fabric." And that's so true. We do that with every one piece that we create, correct? I think it's really amazing how we can kind of tell stories just through the items that we create, and they just make people happy, I think. So, we're just going to go over now to our next segment because we haven't done this in a while and we got to get the little giggle going, right? So let's go to our top comedy 5 for the day. Alrighty, now this is not your average Father's Day gift guide, guys, because it is Father's Day weekend coming up. So we've got our top 5 coming in, and let's start with number 5. A pillow embroidered with "This is where Dad sits while I sew." Wouldn't that be a cute little gift? Tell him where he can sit while you're sewing, right? Alright, number 4. A dad t-shirt that says, "I went to a craft show and all I got was this lousy shirt." Yes, and number 3. A lawn sign. "Beware, this dad lives with a crafting addict." Yeah, I don't think my neighbors would appreciate that. Alright, number 2. A mug that says, "World's best dad and official chauffeur for Mom's Fabrics." Yes, I think we can all relate to that, can't we? Alrighty, number 1. This is our gift guide here. We've got a custom embroidered toilet paper roll that says, "You're a super pooper, Dad." Why not, right? So these are some great gift guides for your Father's Day. And I hope I was able to put a little bit of giggle in your day today. It is Friday, so guys, I really hope you enjoy your day and you have a fantastic weekend. To all the dads that are out there, I hope you guys have a very happy Father's Day and enjoy your day. Oh God, okay guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are into some more YouTube information, we can head over to Power Tools with Fred. She's going to be starting our hour, so you can head over to Becky's channel now. But thank you guys for tuning in today. I really appreciate you spending your hour with me. Hope you had a fantastic time, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.